you have a lot of fun doing it.
All right, so now it's time for our featured speaker, and today, like we mentioned, we've been promoting it all week. We have a surprise featured speaker, and like Laura Wilson was saying, is it you, Elias? No, it's not me. I'm here every week. What kind of surprise would that be?
Wait, it's David Lai, right?
Maybe. We'll see. But we have a tradition here at the GNA for our featured speaker. Who knows what that tradition is?
Send him out of the room.
He's gotta leave the room. That's right. We send our featured speaker all the way to the back. So Erik Richardson, who's back, you have to go all the way to the back.
Is that where the alcohol is?
Yeah, that's over there by the bar. And Erik, why do we do that, Erik? You remember? It's been a while.
Oh, no.
What?
Why do we send our featured speaker all the way to the back?
I don't know.
So that way you can make that grand entrance that you haven't done in quite some time. But anyway, him and I are like almost like blood brothers, but we're not. So today's featured speaker is the original co-founder of the GNA, Erik Richardson. And Erik Richardson is a good long-time friend of mine, and I'm not going to tell you the story on how we met because I'm going to leave it up to him because he has his version, I have mine. You want to hear my version? Come see me afterwards. That'll be off camera there. But we've known each other for nearly a decade now. We used to work in retail together, and when we became self-employed, we decided to, do some networking. And I said, Erik, you know what? Hey, let's start coming down and come to some events with me. I'll help you get some business. We can help each other out, and then maybe we can get our own thing going. And I'll leave that portion up to Erik to mention how that happened there. But he's an amazing gentleman. And he has an amazing story to share with you all here today. He went through some things, had to step away for a while, so let's just get right to it. Please give a big warm GNA welcome to Mr. Erik Richardson, co-founder of the GNA. Woo! Hey, come give me some love like the good old days. Oh no.
Oh,
Well, thank you, Elias. I appreciate it. As you can tell, Elias and I do go back a long, long ways. If you notice, that's why I keep my hair shaved, because I don't want to show all the gray hairs. All from him.
Thank you.
So, the only way I know how to talk is to interact with people. Is that okay?
yes.
You bet.
All right. So don't fall asleep on me. If you start falling asleep, I will pick on you. Just to warn you ahead of time. And Elias and T-Bone have always been warned far ahead of time that they will be getting picked on today.
Thank you,
That's
Erik.
how I do it.
Nothing new there.
Right?
That's true.
So, I'm 10 years, first off, I was born and raised in Stockton. I thought it was 20 minutes away, I'm sorry. It's more like 40 minutes away from my house to here. But I used to come to Modesto, to the mall. Back then, the big thing was Olive Garden, because we didn't have one in Stockton. Another big thing was Chevy's. Is there still Chevy's in Modesto?
Yeah.
Alright, well, every Chevy's is getting closed down on that side of the bay, so I might have to come down here for the Chevy's.
For that margarita?
Yeah, that'll come later. So, I was born and raised in Stockton, 22 years. Did a few jobs. I did, some warehousing, newspaper. And then I got into my very last job in Stockton was a certain legal MLM company that will remain nameless.
Legal Shield, formerly known as
Back then,
prepaid legal.
when I got into it, it was prepaid legal. So that was my very first MLM company. I got into it. It was a great product. The guy who brought me into it kind of took me down the wrong road. And I was going to the colleges, to the 18-year-olds, just out of high school, bringing them in, and that's why I had such a good team. When I left, the office kind of closed down, and I went over to my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary party. And at this party, it came up that my grandparents were going to go to Clear Lake for a week, and they needed somebody to come watch the house and kind of babysit one of my aunts. And I went over there, remember, just for a week to South San Francisco. And if you guys have ever been to the Bay Area, you know the weather difference between Stockton and South San Francisco. Well, my cover story for this week was my uncle needed help at a cabinet company. So every day I would wake up, go to the cabinet company, make deliveries, do this, do that, and be out of the house all day. Well, I never left South San Francisco. I ended up staying at my grandparents' house. I ended up getting put on full-time at the cabinet company. Then I started getting more and more responsibilities, and I liked it so much I never left. Well, we ended up closing that company down about 5 years ago. And my uncle decided he was going to open up his own cabinet company. So at this time, in the evenings I would work at Target. I would work at a warehouse. I would work at Office Max. Now, I got put on at Office Max kind of as a favor to my uncle. Well, I'm at Office Max, doing retail, absolutely hating life, driving a half hour every day to get to work 4 hours. Well, gas prices at this time was $3 a gallon. I'm driving a 93 Chevy 1500 4x4 raised. Well, it didn't take very long for me to go up to my boss and say, I need more hours, or else I can't continue working here. They're like, alright, well, things are going to change. By the way, the store manager is still a friend of mine and my uncle's. And he's like, Eric, I'll do everything I can to get you more hours, but you're going to have to work the weekends. I'm like, put it on me. I'll work any weekend you want. I'll open, I'll close, you name it. Well, then 2 weeks later, this crazy, skinny, anorexic, smokeaholic,
Well, that's really nice of you to say.
thug came in
Wow.
and started saying, acting like he was going to boss me around. T-boy, do I like to get bossed around?
No.
Alright. So obviously we're already butting heads at this time.
Who are you talking about?
So, well, it'll come to a point.
I'm sure.
So he thought, he thought he was going to come in. At that time, I was 250 pounds. And he thought he was going to get away with it. Well, no. Not with working in a cabinet shop all day long, doing customer service, being around customers, and then coming in there, I wasn't going to put up with it. Well, we had this one customer come in. We called her our DHL lady, because that's all she ever did was come in and ship DHL. So one night, our coffee max person was on lunch, so I went back and I'm helping her out. Well, how many of you have actually been into an Office Max lately? And you know that they have these walkie-talkies with like this earpiece in the ear? So if you're talking to a customer, you can still hear people gabbing in the background. Well, I didn't like what was going on over the radio. So I go up to this supervisor and I said, look, if you don't do something about this, I will, and it's just going to be a big, huge problem. Because I have no problem taking care of things that I probably shouldn't take care of. That's just who I am. And I ended up having to go outside with him. So at this point, I'm actually wait for it. Trying to bring him up. Elias, please come on up to the front. You notice I waited till he had nachos in his mouth.
Wait till I have a piece of food in my mouth.
I do that on purpose all the time. How you doing?
Good, great, thank you.
So now,
Let me get all clean here.
as you can notice, he's like 120 pounds. At this point in time, I was 250. I wasn't worried about taking him outside in Redwood City, right?
Yeah.
Well, as a supervisor, you know, he had to keep it professional. So I think he ended up calling the other supervisor out with you at this point in time. And we're outside for a half hour taking care of business. And
How many cigarettes did I smoke during that time?
I think I lost count at 25. I lost track at 25, but he was smoking. And so at the end of that night, I thought, alright, sweet, you know what? This guy understands me. I'm coming from customer service background. He understands how I feel about the individual customers. I'm like, and I doubt he'll ever put me on the schedule to work with him again, right? Tell him what you did.
Well,
Now listen to this,
What?
because this is just crazy, right?
the crazy thing about me is I love working with people that actually have, I'll say it politely or professionally, the courage to stand up to myself or anybody else that's an authoritative figure in any position. You know, when you're working retail, you have management positions, always somebody above you. But I respect the people that I'm supervising when they come up to me and they challenge me on something. That's what catches my attention. Because he did that, and I realized how much real passion he had, I said, you know what, I'm going to start scheduling every weekend with me. Every weekend. And honestly, what ended up happening was we had a ritual. Remember, I'm his boss, right? I'm his boss. He called out his boss, right? And now every Sunday, well, we would work
At
Saturday,
7 o'clock in the
7
morning.
o'clock in the morning on Sundays, we would meet in the parking lot before work started. I'd go down to 7-Eleven and I'd get us both a coffee and some pastries on me, not on the company. I could expense that if I want, but I paid that out of my own pocket because I had that much respect for Erik. And together, we had that store ready and dialed in for the customers to come in, and the other employees came in. It was all glorious. So that's how it happened there, folks. So Erik,
And now we can't get rid of each other. I've tried.
said, would you like to get rid of me now so we have the spotlight again?
No, I don't need the spotlight, but if you could go ahead and man your camera.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Erik.
I'm going to try and respect everybody's time and keep it to a minimum today. I know some people have gone on for hours. I'm not that kind of a guy, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. So after a while, he gets transferred to Palo Alto.
Mountain View.
So I go from 30 hours a week, part-time, to 4 hours a week. Alright? Well, isn't there a problem here? I'm driving a half hour to work here, and they're only giving me 4 hours a week. So I said, you know what? I'm done. I told them my 2 weeks notice and never looked back. Well, when I did that, a couple of months later, we ended up closing my cabinet company down that we were working at. So my uncle decided he was going to open up his own cabinet company. And so I'm merchandising grocery stores all over the place. I'm driving to Petaluma, Santa Rosa, Novato. A few times I went to Brentwood, San Jose, Livermore. I'm just driving everywhere they need me to go. And then I get done sometimes 4 or 5 o'clock at night, and I would still have to go to my uncle's cabinet company to help him out. Because he was, doing it by himself and trying to make it. Well, I did this for a little while. As we all know, the economy started going down here at this point in time. And the merchandising job said, look, we like you, we want to keep you on, we just can't keep you as full time. We're gonna keep you on, but you can only do 25 hours a month. I said,
Wow.
that is fine with me, but realize what that's going to do to you. I'm no longer going to be able to go to Petaluma for a week straight, because that means 8 hours a day in Petaluma. That's 40 hours a week. That's almost 2 months worth of time right there. And my boss is like, I know, I'm just going to have to work with it, and we're going to have to see what we can do. Well, this went on for a few months. Some weeks I would work one day, some weeks I would work every day. Then it got to the point where some months I would work not at all. Some months I would work 5 days. I'm like, boss, I can't really do this, it's killing me on gas. What can we do? He's like, you know what? There's nothing I can do. Why don't I just let you go? And then you'll be the very first person I call when I can hire somebody back on. I said, okay. Just, keep in touch with me. I'll keep in touch with you. I've, to this day, have not heard from the guy as of yet. I just found out from one of my friends that the company, which was based out of LA, stopped doing business in the area. So my boss actually started his own company to handle it all. And I still have not heard from him. But it gave me more time to work at the cabinet company and try to build it up. And we were building it up, and we were doing good. So I thought. 3 years ago, in May, I ended up closing my uncle's cabinet down. Actually, before I say that, I'm working at Liberty Cabinet Company, and I get this phone call. Once again from this crazy, white, toothpick-looking figure, my friend Elias. So I'm like, hey, what's up, buddy? What you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. And, he told me he bounced from place to place to place, and now he's doing insurance. I'm like, oh, great. He's calling me so he can run my crew. So in the back of my head, I'm like, how do I hang up with this guy and not have to deal with the business? Not once did he ask me for my business. Not once. A few weeks later, I actually call him back. I said, hey, look, bro, you told me you're an insurance agent. I need insurance. Here's my information. Here's my credit card number. No, I didn't give him the credit card number.
Eventually you did.
Eventually I did, but I did not that day. I said, by the way, I need the cheapest. And my record is politely in the trash can.
Well, we like to say professionally, less than favorable.
So
Right, Brian? You bet.
He came out with a great pro. And I always want things by my dad. I'm 33 years old, and anytime I do business like that, I always want it by him. Just so I make sure I'm doing the right thing. He's like I call him my CFO. And he loves it. Because that means he can tell me what to do and what not to do. But, so I've been doing business with him now for going on 5 years. And he can tell you I'm not the easiest customer to work with. Because working at my uncle's shop, I wasn't getting paid. It was volunteer. So what happens when you don't get paid, you're volunteering, your savings account starts doing this, right? So then, 3 years ago, May 2009, I'm talking with a friend of mine, and he's like, Eric, what are you going to do? This place is going down here. I'm going to need a place to go buy captains. And I said, alright, and my uncle wasn't here at this time. I said, well, here's my plan, here's my ideas, what do you think? I had all my sales rep already telling me I could do it. I had a few other contractors telling me I could do it. And so I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, you know what? Either you open it up, or you're going to have to tell me where else to go buy my cabinets. Because I won't buy from your uncle anymore. I'm done. So I said, all right, let's do this. He's like, what's stopping you from stepping out and opening up your own company? I said, honestly, I have no money. That's plain honest truth. I laid it out on the table with them. I said, I have no money. I can't afford to go down and get a business license. I can't afford to pay my internet. I can't afford to go get a phone. And I can't afford to advertise. And he's like, you know what? 50-50, we're partners. I'll give you the money. Let's open it up. So this is May 14, 2009. And I'm in the middle of going to, I just left my uncle's shop to go make a delivery. I'm driving on, and I remember this day clearly. I went to bed at 2:30 in the morning, and my grandma was still awake, and she just walked into her room. So I went to work, got into the truck and trailer. I'm driving on 280, and my phone rings, and it's my aunt. She never calls me at 8:30 in the morning. I said, what is going on? Before I even answered it, I'm at 280 in Hickey. I'm already getting off the exit. I answered the phone. I said, yes, Karen, how are you doing? She's like, you need to get home, and you need to get home now. Grandma's dead in her bed. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, I'm driving right now, and you're telling me my grandma's laying in her bed, dead? There's no way. I just talked to her at 2:30 this morning. I get home. I can't park at my house. I have 7 South San Francisco cop calls, 3 ambulances, 2 fire trucks at my house. I have to park down the street, and I'm walking to the house. I go to get in my house, and I'm not allowed in my house. The cops are out there saying you can't go in. You don't want to go in. You want to remember her the way you remember her. You don't want to remember her like this. I said, you don't understand. I have to. I just talked to her at 2:30 this morning, and she was perfectly fine. My grandpa, 81 years old, sitting in the easy chair right inside the front door. His high school sweetheart. He only had one love in his entire life. She's in the bedroom, dead. My aunt's going off the wall, yelling, screaming. The hardest part of that entire day, I had to call my mom. And I had to call my 3 uncles. And I had to tell them, you need to stop what you're doing, and you need to get over here now. My mom and dad lived in Stockton. My uncle and aunt lived in Tracy. My other 2 uncles lived in, one in Antioch, one in Martinez. And they couldn't believe it. I said, I just talked to her at 2:30 this morning. She was perfectly fine. 8:30, a matter of 6 hours, she had slipped away and left us. The way she wanted to, in her very own bed. She didn't want to be in a hospital. She didn't want to be in pain. during this time, remember, during this time, I have my paperwork in the truck with me to open up my own cabinet company. I called my friend up. I said, look, I just lost my grandma. You need to come get the paperwork, and you need to just take care of it. I can't handle it. I'm going to be dealing with this. So he took care of it. 3 years later, we did okay. Don't get me wrong, we did okay. We hung in there. At this time, Elias came to me and said, I'm going to start a networking group once a month, and I'd like for you to help me with it. At that point in time, it was called Trusted Business Associates, and it was just that. Once a month, the best of the best in their field got together in San Jose, Santa Clara, Milpitas, and we helped each other out. Well, during this time, I'm like, you know, Elias, we're missing something. We need something else to get more people. I said, let's do a night event. So he's like, you know, Eric, and he can tell this better than I can. You're right, we do need to do kind of an informal event. And so we did. We started an informal event at the Beverly Heritage Hotel, and we called it Informal Fridays. Is that
Interactive Fridays.
Interactive Fridays. Sorry, I just walked all night last night. Interactive Fridays, and here it is 3 years later. And from what I see on Facebook in the pictures, it's still going strong. So then, I'm like, Elias, a couple of months later, I'm like, Elias, we're missing something. I still feel like we need something to gather more people in. The once a month's okay, the Interactive Fridays is okay, but we need something weekly to get together. Because I'll be honest, I was having a problem remembering people's names at this point in time. Only seeing them once a month. I mean, it was literally, hey, how you doing? My name is Erik Richardson.
Yeah.
What was yours?
It's Tim.
Hi. So then that month would go by, right? Well, 500 phone calls later, 50 customers' faces later, it's time for another TBA meeting. I'd be like, hey, how you doing? My name is Erik. What was yours? Oh,
Yeah, same name.
oh, wait. I've already forgot about it.
Right.
So I'm like, Elias, we gotta do something about this. Because, let's admit it, how many guys have that same problem?
How many people in general?
How many
Guys.
people?
Why do you think I keep the gray hair?
Oh, we love you, Diane.
So he's like, I need to go to Stockton with me. At this point in time, we had a guy here in Modesto. Do you all know who David Elias?
Yes.
So he had been coming over to the TBA meetings once a month, and he was telling us, Erik, Elias, you have to check out this other networking. So we checked it out. I'm not going to mention names, just because this place might be bugged. And we went, and we said, you know what? This is what we need. Right, Elias?
Absolutely.
Notice I got you before you put your chip in.
Thank you.
So we brought it to San Jose, and I was happy as happy could be. In fact, I think we even went a little overboard at the launch event, because I brought out the DJ equipment. Every time we went to introduce somebody, we would blare music. We had 98 people at the launch event. And let me tell you, that environment that day, to me, was awesome. Elias, to you was?
Oh, phenomenal, Erik.
Alright. T-Bolt, were you there that day? Or did you come in a few months later?
No, I was stopping.
Alright. So, he, you know, like, we bring it to Stockton. We bring it to Stockton. We've been to San Jose, and I'm like, you know what, Elias? I live in South San Francisco. My business is in South San Francisco. Your business is in Redwood City. You live in Redwood City. Why are we doing all of our networking in the South Bay? We have a ton of businesses right here in our backyard. Let's bring a networking event to the peninsula. So a few other people got on board, and we started one in Foster City. I'm like, you know, Elias, and he'll tell you, I'm like this. I'm like, Foster City is great, but that's half hour away from where I live. I'm like, I want to bring something to San Bruno, South San Francisco, Daly City. I limited them to 3 cities. And I said, we've got to do something here. And then at this time, the pipe exploded in San Bruno. The San Bruno pipe explosion. And that really hit me hard, because that was in my backyard. It was literally 5 minutes from my office, 5 minutes from my house. I had contractors living in the area. I had contractors who had good friends living in the area. I had worked the Lenardi's super grocery store right there for day after day after day. And I said, you know what, Elias? I have the perfect place for us to do a San Bruno networking meeting every week. Come check it out. Well, we'd had another meeting at this place already, so he kind of already knew the back room. So I said, meet me at such and such a place, and let's talk about this. So he comes over there, and he's like, you know what, this is great. We're half a mile away from where the pipe exploded. Half a mile. And by the way, I was just there on Tuesday last week. They are just now rebuilding the neighborhood from the pipe explosion. 3 years later. And that community is still holding. And I said, Elias, are you with me or are you not with me? And Elias' answer was?
Oh, absolutely. Great place. Oh, yeah.
So we set it up. And we get it going. We pack out the place. We get people from San Francisco, Brisbane, from all over. And it's awesome. I just love the feel. I like the fact I only have to drive 5 minutes to get to the place. Instead of leaving my house at 8 o'clock, I could leave my house at 11:25. Oh, I mean 10:55 to get there at 11. I'm like, I'm loving life. So then, fast forward to March of this year, I'm getting ready to go to a meeting, and my grandpa slips and falls in the garage. 82 years old. And so, he's not the type of guy to complain. He's not the type of guy that I want to go to the hospital. I'm waking up at 8:30 in the morning, and he's like, first thing I wake up, I go straight to the shower. He's like, Eric, you're not taking a shower, get dressed, you're taking me to Kaiser. I'm like, I'm doing what? He's like, I slipped and fell and my back's acting up. I'm like, okay. So I take him to Kaiser emergency room. I call the new chairperson for San Bruno, which her name was Ann Keeney. I call Elias. I'm like, look guys, I can't make it today. I'm at the ER with my grandpa. I'll let you guys know what's going on. So the entire month of March, I hung in there. It was tough. Elias was yelling at me. He's like, Eric, you gotta make it to these meetings. You gotta make it. I'm like, Elias, it's tough. I got my grandpa needing me to do this. I got my grandpa needing me to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm being pulled in both ways. So it came, at the end of March, it came down, and I said, it was actually Elias's idea. He's like, Eric, you need a break. I said, you're telling me. I'm 33 years old, and I feel like I'm 50.
Well, you should tell the real story, because you couldn't let your baby go, which was the GNA.
Yeah.
But you know, if we're going to be honest and genuine here,
I did not want to separate. I feel like the GNA is my baby, and Elias feels it's his baby, so that's why it's able for us to work like this. Because if I'm going to put all my time and effort into something, I'm going to treat it like it's my own. I'm going to care for it. If it's sick, I'm going to tend to it. If it needs to be fixed, I don't care what I have to do, it's going to get fixed. He's like, and Elias is like, Eric, look, you're going to burn out. You have to separate. Just for a month. Just separate for a month. I'm like, no, Elias. So then, the entire month of March, my grandpa spent in bed. Would not get out of bed. Did not want to walk anywhere. It was so it started to be 24/7 with my grandpa. So I said, all right, Elias, you win. I'm not going to let my baby go. I'm not letting him go. I'm just going to loosen up the ropes a little bit. And
you're going to hiatus.
And I'm going to have to take a sabbatical. So, I take a sabbatical. Every once in a while I sneak into San Bruno. And my grandpa gets worse. So then they find a clogged artery in his neck. Remember, he's 82 years old. And so we schedule him for surgery. I take him to San Francisco. He does surgery. And the next morning, he gets out of surgery at 9 o'clock at night. The next morning at 10 o'clock, they're ready to discharge him. While he hasn't walked yet, he hasn't been able to eat, he hasn't been able to swallow, and Kaiser's ready to dismiss him and send him home. More like, wait a minute, he hasn't walked, he can't eat, and he can't swallow. Well, it's not that he can't eat, it's not that he can't swallow, he chose not to swallow. I'm like, great. So I bring him home, and it's hot dogs, green beans, mashed potatoes, into a blender, mix it, chop it up, and that's the only way he can eat his food for the next month straight. I'm like, wait a minute. I might be the oldest grandson. I didn't sign on to this. My mom's like, oh yeah, you did. You lived there for free, and you're the oldest grandson. You signed up for it. I said, okay, mom. So I'm taking care of him. He never really got to the point where he was comfortable swallowing. So we took him back in, met with the speech therapist, met with the physical therapist, and as far as they could see, there was nothing medically wrong with him. It just was not comfortable for him to swallow. So finally he gets to the point where I don't have to cut it up as small, then I don't have to blend it, so then he gets back to eating. I'm like, this is great. I can maybe get back to my baby, the GNA. Nah, it wasn't the point. I ended up having to take him twice a week to Woodside. I'm like, Now it's not to Kaiser, now it's to the dentist? I'm like, okay, fine, I'm the oldest grandson, I'll just suck it up and do it. So then, my grandpa was a very well family man. And when my grandma passed away, the family kind of split down the middle. And my grandpa didn't understand why certain family members were not getting along with the other family members. So I tried explaining it to him, and he just never understood. So then, Labor Day, September 4th, 2012, we decided we're going to go to Patterson, to one of his son's house, and we're going to hang out, we're going to barbecue, we're going to go swimming, we're going to play poker. Anyone like to play poker here?
Oh yeah.
Alright, Texas Hold'em,
Blackjack.
you name it. My grandpa's
Seven
favorite
stud.
thing. You did not have to gamble, you could use potato chips. As long as he was playing cards, he was happy. Because he loved games. So we spent the entire day. He was happy as happy can be. I'm driving home from Patterson to South San Francisco. And, at this point he's 83 years old. So I understand that he drank a lot of coffee that day. So I stopped in Livermore. So he also, anyone ever heard of this thing called the lottery? Well, he loves lottery. So he bought some scratchers and some lottery tickets. So then I make it to San Bruno Starbucks. Stop again. And I had my two cousins in the back seat, and I was joking around with one of my cousins. I said, hey, and his name's Darren. Elias knows Darren.
Oh yeah.
I said, hey Darren, Kelly's got money in the back. Is she buying her Starbucks? Well, my grandpa loves Starbucks. So he's like, speaking of Starbucks, why don't you pull in? So he goes in, comes out, says, you guys coming in? You want some coffee? Oh no, Grandpa, it was a joke. Come on in. So then he gets in and he complains of a headache. So I'm like, alright, just close your eyes and we'll be home soon. So I go to my cousin's house, I drop my cousins off. And from my cousin's house to my house is 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Now remember, my grandpa's in the passenger seat, snoring. He's on his 15th set of trees, and he's fine. I get home 12:15 in the morning, and I can't wake him up. I'm like, alright, he's just too tired, I can't wake him up. So I unload the car, I'm bringing stuff in, I go back out, Grandpa, let's go inside, we're home, and no answer. So I said, I'm going to finish taking this stuff in, and I'm going to put on a different polo shirt. Because at this point in time, I was getting worried. I said, and if he doesn't wake up this time, I'm just going to drive to Kaiser and see what's going on. Well, as I'm walking out, my aunt wakes up. Remember, 3 years ago, my aunt was there when they found my grandma dead. So I said, hey, you want to come help me wake your dad up? I just can't get him out. And he goes out there. And she goes out there. And she's like, Erik, he's not breathing. Erik, he's cold. He's sick. And she gets on top of him. I'm not going to do this all this. And she starts pounding his chest at 12:30 in the morning. And we can't wake him up. She flips the lid. She starts yelling. All the neighbors start coming out. I call 911. They come out. The entire time I'm on the phone with 911, the only thing the dispatcher can say is, you need to get him out of the car and you need to lay him on the ground. I'm like, ma'am, I am 315 pounds. He's maybe 225. I can't move him by myself. There's no way. You tell me what I can do leaving him in the car, and I'll do it. I can't move him. I get 7 police calls. I'm like, oh great, it's 12:30 in the morning. I'm having 7 police calls around my house, an ambulance and a fire truck. I'm like, this is just what I need. And they don't come in quiet. They don't come in with just the lights on. They come on in with lights and sirens, waking up the entire neighborhood. And the very first police officer is there, helps me get him on the ground, and that's where they work on him for 15 minutes. They load him up in the gurney. They work on him from my house to Kaiser, 5 minutes. By the time we get to the ER, they've already stopped working on him and called it. In the back of my head, I knew he wasn't coming back. Nor did he want to come back. He was with the love of his life, and he was not in pain anymore. And I had to start making phone calls again. 2 hardest days in my life. The day my grandma died, the day my grandpa died. Because I had to call my mom and tell her that both of, that her dad had just passed away. Remember, we just spent the entire day with the family. The entire day with the family, and he was fine. No signs, nothing. And I'm having a call. Hey, Grandpa just passed away. Grandpa just passed away. Grandpa just passed away. So then, I remember it clearly. I remember it like it was yesterday. I wake up on Tuesday morning. I go down to Peninsula Transmission, one of his buddy's shops, and I tell him, hey, and we just left the shop on Friday. So then I remember I go into GNA, and Elias thought I was coming back. I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it. He's all jumping up for joy. He's like, I get to take a break. It's my turn to take a break. Yes! I'm like, he's like, you want to come in and say something? I'm like, no, you need to come outside really quick, and then I'll let you back. And so I told him, I said, I may need more time. My grandpa just passed away this morning, and I'm going to have to deal with that. Through it all, I've learned that you never know what's going to happen today, tomorrow, or next week. And through it all, I'm happy where I'm at now. I moved back to Stockton. I'm closer to my buddy T-Board. So now we're going to be able to hang out tomorrow. And he's like, bring it on, buddy. What? Alright. So, but not only that, I can start coming back to GNA again.
Yeah! Woo!
Alright?
Give Eric a big round of applause for that, coming back to GNA. Yeah!
Not only am I going to be able to come back to GNA, but we're going to start opening up GNA chapters all across the Central Valley. And Elias doesn't even know that yet.
I seriously don't.
Because T-Board, I like to spring things up on him, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I think I heard somebody say, you want monthly informal networking? Who said that earlier?
Yeah.
Alright, it's coming. Alright, we're going to do it interactive Fridays. We're going to do a monthly mastermind. And we're going to till up the Central Valley.
Wow.
They already have the mastermind going in Sacramento. We're going to install one in Elk Grove. We're going to install one in Stockton. We're going to install one in Modesto. We're going to till up the Central Valley. And I'm tired of this economy being the way it is. Who's with me?
Yes.
Alright? Who's ready to change this economy for the better?
Oh yeah.
Alright? Who's ready to start making money?
Yes.
Alright? Who's, that was kind of weak, Elias. I'm feeling it, Elias. I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling it too,
Alright,
Eric.
who's ready to start making some money?
Yes.
Who's ready to get a nice luxury suite at the San Francisco 49ers new stadium?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Alright, who's ready for a GNA luxury suite at the 49ers stadium?
GNA luxury suite.
Who's ready for GNA luxury suite at the Giants?
Oh yeah, I'll take that one.
Who's ready for a luxury suite at the Thunder's games?
Stockton Thunder?
Stockton
That's not too bad. I heard they're pretty good.
Who's ready for a luxury suite at the Stockton Ports? Actually, wait, hold on. I forgot, I'm in Modesto.
What does that mean?
Who's ready for a luxury suite at the Modesto Nuts?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Do they even have one?
Hold on.
they do.
Hold on. That was weak. Who's ready for season tickets on the GNA at the Modesto Nuts games?
That's so nuts.
Alright.
Yeah.
Now, if I missed any of the sports, just let me know and we'll do those too. But I'm sick and tired. Hold on, let me see. I do this all the time. Oh, I can't do this. Hold on. Who's sick and tired of your wallets being like this?
Yeah.
Wait, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Alright, who's ready to put money in their wallets?
You
I can't hear you. Alright, so, who's with me on opening up more chapters?
You bet. Yes.
Who's going to step forward and say, Eric, Elias, T-Board, I want to help you move forward.
You bet.
Stand
Yes.
up if you're ready to move forward.
Who's ready to move forward? Yes.
Alright, on that note, Elias, thank you for letting me come and have fun today. It's all yours.
Give Eric a big round of applause, everybody. Eric, that was awesome. How about one more big round of applause for the co-founder of GNA,